Speaker, I personally have been a victim of buying data. And the next week or so, I was told my data had expired. And if you go to my Twitter handle, I did express my concerns to Safaricom. And I said we should stop now using Safaricom. At that point in time, that was my belief. And I explained that you cannot go to a shop, Mr. Speaker, and buy sugar, and then come to my house and tell me how not to use or how to use that sugar. And I think I want to inform the member, since then, I really had a back and forth with Safaricom. Now they give you an option of buying, I'm not speaking for Safaricom, but they have an option of you buying data without expiry or data with expiry. So ujitume, ununue, whatever it is that you feel is good for you. But that is, it was very disappointing for me that day, and I believe for most Kenyans.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Owen.
I mean, I think we need a policy, because if you make expirable data more expensive and data that does not expire cheaper, then what you're doing is you're robbing citizens. So I think we need a policy to stop this daylight theft, because there's something called consumer protection in this country. And I think the Minister of ICT owes this country a duty of care to protect consumers of data, to just have non-expirable data. Thank you.
So Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely with the member. And if I'm confirmed, I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
Go ahead, Robert Mbui's question.
Yeah, the other part of Honorable Bayer's question was on the Konza city.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, you realize that this was a dream 16 years ago. And things were different 16 years ago. And from where I sit, if I'm confirmed and going, we shall put the issue of Konza City on the table and reevaluate whether the original dream still stands and what it is we need to do with the very huge investments that have been put in Konza. And as a businessman, I have asked myself time and again, why haven't I ever thought of going to Konza and invest there as an astute Kenyan businessman? And in my mind, Mr. Speaker, is that there is nothing attractive from the businessman point of view, because I've seen others come up in Dubai. I have invested there. I've seen others in other places of the world. So really, Mr. Speaker, we need to reevaluate the concept of Konza City. A lot of money has been put in Konza on infrastructure. Phase 1, almost 95% complete. But my question is, what is it we need to do to make Kenyans themselves and foreign investors be attracted to investing in Konza? You know, Nairobi is competing with Konza. So we must have an incentive scheme that sends people and international investors into Konza, like tax holiday, duty-free status, land available at almost zero rate, so that they can put huge investments, is to create the demand and the need of people to invest in Konza. And that would be a game changer. There's something in the world that is happening now called tokenizing. We can raise money from public and from investors and buy tokens for Konza so that it can build itself. But always when it's a government project, people tend to want to go slow on again, bureaucracy, again, the way decisions are made. I have had a little bit of a briefing on Konza, and there are many things that we will put on the table and see whether we still have to do business that way. I'm told Konza City is building hubs. The 1450, or the first 100 hectare, which is the authority responsible with connectivity, will do internet, Konza will do the structure, and ICTA will connect, from what I understand, and then probably give an ISP to run. Is it really the right thing to do for Konza, to build these hubs or concentrate on the core mandate of Konza? This is questions I will need to ask until I'm convinced that that is the way to do this business. So there's a lot that will be on the table of the ICT minister in as far as Konza City is concerned. Because 16 years ago, it was a great idea to have Konza as one smart city. But today, you would see that we need to devolve and have smart cities almost in every county. And that's the way the world is going today. Why don't we have the Elon Musks of this world investing in Konza City? Do we risk losing the total amount of money that has been invested in Konza? Then there is land being given. For how long has this land being given has been going on? What is the criteria? Are these people going to invest, or they are people who speculate? These are things that the ministry needs to look into and reorganize Konza the year today and not 16 years ago. That's from an outsider's point of view. Data mining. This is something that I'm not sure who asked, but this is something that
You're not sure? You're not paying attention?
Sure. Second?
You are not sure who asked?
I'm not sure. I didn't get the name. That's why I'm saying.
Robert
but I know,
Mbui.
I know it is a member sitting just there. So sorry, I did not get your name. But be that as it may.
Does that tell a story about you? All these members introduce themselves to you.
Mr. Speaker, sometimes you do not hear the pronunciation of the name, so I do not want to take the risk of calling someone in a name that is not their name.
And the name tags are also there.
Unfortunately,
He is Honorable Robert Mbui. Go ahead and answer his
I am
question.
physically challenged from seeing far. Honorable Mbui, you will excuse me, but data mining, as I had said earlier, it is something that needs to be checked. It needs to be regulated. What sort of data is going into whose hands? You did give an example of a company that was collecting, I think, data from Kenyans, and they were paying. So government should be able to regulate who is it that is collecting data from Kenyans. And I think that's not a big deal to do. We should be able to quickly.
In fact, should we allow any foreigner to come and mine our data?
In my mind, we should not, unless it is done through a government agency. And for what reason, Mr. Speaker, we would want to give data of Kenyans to foreigners? For me, that is a straight no. But you find that Kenyans are very enterprising, Mr. Speaker. When the rumor was that you will get 10,000 shillings after you register, sometimes Kenyans don't give a damn of some of those things as long as there is some enterprise happening. So we should be able to engage people and them understand that it is wrong for them to give data to anyone. So I want to tell Kenyans to be careful on who you allow to take information from yourself. But if we have rules and regulations on how this thing is done, it can be controlled. Now, Mr. Speaker, I think it's Honorable Mule. I got...
Yes, Robert?
You haven't finished my questions on pending bills and what Kenyans on social media are saying about this docket.
I didn't get the question on pending bills, what it was.
Yeah, it was about pending bills that the government owes to media houses that have led to some of them collapsing and journalists not being paid so much money. So what will you do when you get into office? And the other one was what Kenyans are saying on social media. They're saying that this docket should have been given to a young, techno-savvy youth in furtherance of Article 10 of the Constitution. So what do you have to say about that?
Let me deal with the first one because it's fairly easy. The issue of pending bills, Mr. Speaker, I had addressed the issue of pending bills to Kenyans, not now media owners, Kenyans themselves who've built roads, who've built hospitals, and their money is held by government. I'm saying we must have a way of controlling pending bills. And if we digitize government procurement, media houses procurement, no one will go and spend money they cannot pay. And I gave an example of a governor who walks into office, like I left office, somebody else walked in, and quickly they want to commit money for roads, for either one reason to build roads or another reason. And Kenyans quickly run and put their money into those programs or projects, and to wait for many years not to be paid. There must be a way we can legislate on the issue of committing funds that you do not have. But if I am confirmed.
Well, there is already a legislation. The PFM Act says it's a criminal offense to procure goods or services in a public